Hello and welcome to my alternative channel, Anti-War. And today on Anti-War, we are looking at Dank Little Thing. Dank Little Thing. Introduced way back in 2023 with its colorful Magical Mystery Tour label. Produced by Sierra Nevada. 7.5% alcohol, 40 bitterness units. I've poured it already. It's orange. It's opaque. It has chunks in it. I have not been particularly thrilled with the. Look at all those chunks. I'm pretty sure you could see that. And that does not look good to me. Look at that. Look at that. That's crazy. That's crazy. I put this bandana on because my hair was falling in my face. And I didn't like that. See what I mean? So therefore, put this on. Okay, we'll do a screen share on the. This is my alternative channel, Anti-War, and today on the Anti-War channel, we represent the anti-war. Well, not the whole movement, but we're part of it. You know what I mean? Know me. There's Dank Little Thing. Sticky floral and hops into this Dank Little Thing. That's what they rolled up. Amarillo, Chinook, and these varieties help pack that resinous flavor and spark an aroma that fills them. Stash it while you can before the next hazy IPA rotator hits. Exclusively available in the hazy IPA pack. 7.5% alcohol, 40 bitterness units. Stats and Dank Dope Hazy. Okay, we get it. Munich barley malt, 2-row pale malt, and they add and wheat. So it's a multi-grain concoction. Amarillo, Chinook, CTZ, and Mosaic hops. The yeast is ale yeast. And they add lots of oats and wheat. Both malted and unmalted varieties are critical to the recipe. So they claim you have to have, look at that, the magical mystery. They claim that you have to have lots of oats and wheats to make it dank and hazy and cloudy and so forth. Now, do I like hazy, cloudy IPAs? No, not really. But I got it. I paid $18.50, I think, for this 12-pack variety pack. 4 different varieties, 3 cans each. John and LA, the old pal John and LA, live from Massachusetts. Says, cheers, Ron. I haven't had this one yet, but I enjoyed the hazy little thing. None of these beers compared to their IPAs brewed by the local breweries, in my opinion, Treehouse and Spyglass in particular, which, of course, we can't not get in Louisiana. Now, some dude who obviously was a liar approached me last year talking about, I want to send you these Hop Butcher for the World beers. And he was going on and on about Hop Butcher of the World. Well, I heard the name, but I never had any of their beers, right? So I was like, well, okay. I was reluctant. I'm never encouraging people to send me beer, And he was like, oh, no, I insist. It's no problem for me because my job makes it to where I can get them and so forth. I said, okay. So I went along with it. Although, like I said, I didn't have a good feeling about it. And then, so then he sent me a photo of his trunk with the beer in it. I went to Chicago and I got the beer. I said, okay. Now this was like, okay, a day in January or something like that, or December. And so I said, okay. So then about a week went by. Now I know he said he claimed he lived in Moss Point, Mississippi. See, he claimed he had a certain name, but it could have been a lie. And he said, I'm going to send it to you. Now I know from Mississippi to Louisiana is what? 1 day, maybe 2 if something went wrong. 2-day shipment, especially Moss Point, which is, I mean, I could drive there in 2 hours. Nothing came in. So I'm like, that's kind of strange. But I thought, here we go. And so I contacted him. I'm like, well, I was like, what about these Hop Butcher beers? Because you were talking about it, and you showed me a picture in the trunk. Oh, yeah, it's on the way. It's coming. I'm saying, okay. And then another week goes by. I said, well, then I know it's like phony. The guy's obviously lying. I said, well, just checking in on those beers. I'm going to send it. Don't worry. Well, yeah, I'm worried because I know that what you're telling me is phony. And of course, it never came in. And then when I asked the third time, he blocked me on Facebook and all. It's like, I don't trust these people, man. These lying people. I didn't care about Hop Butcher. I never heard of Hop Butcher. I never heard of Treehouse or Spyglass except for John and Illy. But I mean, I would be interested in trying them. Okay, I would be interested. Not to say I'm like particularly concerned about it, but if somebody comes to me and says, "Oh, I love your channel," it always starts the same way. I love your channel. It inspires me and all this business. And it's like, okay, and I want to send you these beers. Then I'm thinking, here we go, and usually now it's not always that story. Mo sent me those beers from Arizona. They came in, no problem. Douglas in Virginia sends, they come in. The people that you can trust, you can trust them because their behavior lines up with trustworthiness. But going on with that, finishing up that rant, but I mean, it is justified, because I never approach people about sending me a beer, ever. I never say, send me a beer. I have money. I can buy a beer, okay? I mean, around here, I can't really buy too many exciting beers, but I can buy. So when you come at me, I mean, let's just be straight. If you approach me about sending me something, I'm not really going to be keen on it. But if I go along with it, and then you don't send it and start acting crazy or funny about it, yeah, there's going to be a problem. Common sense, there's going to be a problem, and it ain't going to be my fault. All right, but going on with that, Tommy says, cheers, Louisiana liquor reviews, or Louisiana beer reviews in this case, looking forward to some of the Oktoberfest beers coming out soon. I hadn't seen any. That's kind of strange, isn't it? We're already in July 25th. Hadn't seen one, but I might go to the store tomorrow and see a bunch, but I haven't seen any. John and Nilly says, cheers, Tommy. I love Oktoberfest beers as well. Well, I do too. I do kind of love them, but I'm not an adulation of them, but I do like them more than this. But I don't know. It's a style, I like them. Cheers, John. Also picked up some Lagunitas, little something, something today. That's a nice one. It's a little weedy, it's a wheat IPA. I'm not totally keen on that, but it's nice. It's a little something to have, No, I mean. John and Neely said, that's a good one. I used to be able to find big bomber bottles and some quart bottles of Lagunitas down in Georgia, but I don't see them anymore. We get Lagunitas around here, mostly the IPA. But we get other Lagunitas. We get their Newcastle Brown Ale. Already on the shelf. Maybe old. May not sell, but it's they did a good job with it. But I do kind of miss the old days 10 years ago when we got Lagunitas, not Lagunitas, the Newcastle Brown Ale in the big bomber bottles. Might have been 24 ounce. And we got the 12 ounce clear bottles. Not that I endorse clear bottles. The brown that Lagunitas has is better. And we got the cans. We used to get cans. It was a 14.7 ounce can, kind of a strange can size, but we used to get cans, brown cans. Brown cans. All right, now this, it's dank, but I mean, people talking about marijuana, it's like, oh, dude, so many fantastic colors. I'm so high, and I was never part of the drug culture, so I couldn't really say. But I did go to a Rush concert once, and there was a certain smell in there. But and I remember some guy just passed out in front of us. We were waiting in the line to get popcorn. I'm pretty sure we were getting popcorn, and some guy was standing up, and then he just like went down on the ground. And his friend was like, "Hey, man." And they were trying to get him awake, and I'm thinking, to myself, 16 years old, I'm thinking, I wonder what happened to him. I didn't know. I figured probably drugs or something, or he's drunk, or he's high on drugs. I didn't know, but I thought, oh man, that's too bad. Paid all this money. Well, back then it was like $13.50 to go see Rush, and he doesn't get to see the concert. But I liked it. It was kind of boring because Rush, they're so technically perfect, or they were, because they don't exist anymore. But their concert was sort of like the album. Like it was like listening. It was like taking the albums out and just playing them on the record player. And I was like, I heard that before. It's just like there was no variation, but it was fine. But they weren't too like that's just their personality. But they weren't too much into the fans. They just came out on stage, which was good. It was genuine. They just came out on stage, but that's just how they were. They just came out on stage and said, "Hello, thank you for coming," and they played, and then they were like, "Okay, bye." There wasn't all that. All right, New Orleans. We're with you. We feel you. No, they're just not personable. But it was nice. I'm glad I went. Got to see Rush. But I remember that smell inside that stadium, that arena, New Orleans Lakefront Arena. I was like, ooh, somebody's burning grass in here or something. All right. And I did notice like musicians in the shadows. Like they had Rush, 3 people: drummer, bass guitarist, lead guitarist. No problem. But in the background, not in the spotlights, never in the light, was somebody playing, I think, rhythm guitar. I'm thinking, yeah, they can't get that full sound from just 3 instruments. And I noticed that with Fleetwood Mac. Like if you watch a lot of old Fleetwood Mac concerts, you can kind of see somebody in the background. It's like, I think that's another guitarist. All right, but they were actually playing, wasn't like backtracking or what they call that, auto tune. It wasn't anything like that. All right, so the flavor here. I like the way they get the hops to taste like that dank. If you want to say marijuana or whatever you're into, which I'm telling you, I'm not into that. But I don't care what other people do, honestly, especially if I'm not paying for it. Now, if I got to pay for it, then I care what you do. But if I'm not paying for it, not that I recommend certain things. But yeah, it's interesting the way they get it to taste like that. I guess these hop arrangements do that. The combination, and I don't mind it. Still, it's not exactly fantastic. Now I'm going to have a solo review recorded on the camera. You know what I'm talking about, the video camera out in the yard. It was hot as heck out in the yard. But yeah, that'll be coming up on the main channel. I'm so backlogged. I keep churning out these videos like a machine, but I got so many products to do. The body's kind of heavy, honestly. They're kind of heavy bodied, and the mouth feels kind of chewy, and they finish semi-sweet, splotchy lacy. But it's good. I'm not going to pretend that it's not good. But it's not awesome or anything. I'm gonna give it an A minus. I think a 92 is a fair score. Excellent, almost 93, most excellent, but not quite, but almost. But it's close. But it's close. And I mean, $18.50 for a 12 pack. I got the hazy little thing, the tropical little thing, the juicy little thing, and the dank little thing. I think that's fair. It's fair. Uh, Hazy little thing is kind of like this. It's nice, but it's nothing to get excited about. Tropical little thing was a fiasco, I thought. Or was it the juicy? It was one of those two. I can't remember. One of those two was like so bland. It's like, I think it was the tropical. I think it was the tropical. But I could be those things confuse me. But I have it all written down. I have it written confused. But I said, oh man, this thing is so bland. I just couldn't get over it. It was so irritating. So I was pretty down on that one. I went after that one pretty bad. That was a 14-minute video with lots of rants in it. I went after that one pretty hard. The dank little thing, as you can see, I like it. So I'm giving it a 92. Not a bad score by any means. So it's one of the two, the juicy or the tropical. I really went after, and the other one, I was kind of like, it's nice, but it's not much. So the whole series is kind of like that. None of it is that exciting. Now the big little thing is exciting because it's 9%. So you drink the whole big, tall stovepipe can, you're gonna feel excited, but not in the right way. You know what I mean? No, I mean. But even that one is like a sweet malt liquor. It is a malt liquor, but it's under the guise of a craft beer. A malt liquor disguised as a craft beer is what it is. You say, but it's an ale. Malt liquors are lagers. Well, malt liquor doesn't have to be a lager. A malt liquor can be an ale or a lager, just as long as it's over a 5%. And anyway, the word doesn't mean much. It's just a term that brewing companies came up with, probably in collusion with the U.S. government, to get around the U.S. government's liquor laws, where you could never sell a beer above 5%. You can't sell a beer above 5%. Are you crazy? What about malt liquor? And the U.S. government's like, oh yeah, well, you could sell that. There's no rule against malt liquor. The law said beer. It didn't say malt liquor. You say, what's a malt liquor? Oh, well, I'm busy right now. We'll get back to you at a future time. Well, thanks for coming into the office. We appreciate your concern and input. But of course, we know that malt liquor was just an alternative term for beer to get around the law, because the U.S. government did not want to turn down tax revenue for all the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% beers. And I was looking at an old label for Old English brand stout. They said stout malt liquor back in the 50s, 1950s or 60s, stout malt liquor. And it was 8% alcohol by weight. Well, if you read your Tax and Trade Bureau guidelines, 8% alcohol by weight translates to 9% alcohol by volume. 9% alcohol by volume. And I don't even think they were supposed to put ABV on beer. But but that's right, it wasn't beer. It was malt liquor, stout malt liquor. 9%. Man, that thing must have been a knockout. But that was like 1954. But my grandfather talked about this. Like, he was telling me back in the 1990s, he was like, yeah, my uncles, they used to drink ale. This was probably in the 1930s, 1935. He said, my uncles used to drink ale. And that stuff, we'll say it, would knock you on your ass. That's what he was saying. So they could have been drinking really strong ales in 1935. I mean, knowing Louisiana, which is a drinking state with a football problem, I don't know what kind of powerful ales were around in 1935, but he said they would drink it and it would blow them up. They would get blown up. It could have been Valentine's, which I think is about 6%. But that's what he said his uncles drank, ales, and they were powerful, like at the time. All right, but anyway, but it could have been 9. Like I said, I saw the label for the Old English stout malt liquor was 9% ABV, 8% by weight. All right, last comments. Louisiana liquor reviews. Well, beer reviews today. Thank you. Ale reviews. Two Hearted Ale or Founders Centennial. What would be your choice? Um, I guess it would be a tie because doesn't Two Hearted Ale use only Centennial hops? Isn't it like a single hop ale? So it's like this, and they taste about the same. Yeah, they taste almost the same. I know the two different companies. So yeah, either. Malt liquor, always malt liquor, says John and Neely. John and Neely, you too crazy. You crazy, John and Neely. I'll second that emotion, John. That's crazy. I'm Brian Fellow. I wish I could get Country Club malt liquor. I know, me too. I've seen it in Virginia last time. Now it's called what is it called? Country Club Lager or something like that. Strong Lager. They can't say strong, well, you know it doesn't say strong. I would buy it all the time. I think others would too. Too bad Pabst doesn't promote or distribute it. Yeah, but Pabst is like an insane company. They got products. They're sitting on a gold mine, but they're like, we don't want gold. We just want silver or bronze. I think Pabst sits around at their board meetings and says, man, we don't want to make too much money because you got to, it's like a big hassle. You make all this money. We rather just make a little bit of money. And then like their vice president is like, yeah, I have a condo. It's kind of nice. It's getting kind of bad over there, but you know, I never got attacked in the parking lot. It's kind of nice, you know. We don't need all this money because it's a big hassle. You have to hire an accountant, and they're like, yeah, let's just make a little bit of money. And then they shake hands and they go home. They go eat at Olive Garden. See, when Molson Coors has a business meeting, they go to Delmonico, or the Court of Two Sisters, or Galatoire's, or Emeril's. And when Pabst when Pabst Brewing Company has a business meeting, they go out to eat at Olive Tree or what you call that? Western Sizzling, not Western Sizzling. You know what I'm talking about. All right, anyway, that's where they go. Shoney's. I don't know if Shoney's is still around. Hey, but that's cool because their beer is kind of, okay now with their city brewing contract. Yeah, city brewing. Ouch! I tried the new Pabst Blue Ribbon. It was, it exists. The new Schlitz. I saw some new Pabst come in the other day. And I was like, yep, there it is. And I haven't tried the new Old Milwaukee because all they had was the Miller produced Old Milwaukee when I was at the last store. But once they sell it down, I'm going to go check in about a month, see if they got the new City Brewing Old Milwaukee. Oh, man, they are funny. Pabst Brewing Company is a trip. They are comical. Ultimately, I like the beer, but I'm never going to say I love it. I'm just not. I'm not going to say I love it because I don't. It's all right. There's just the whole. I'm gonna just say the whole lineup of these things. I'm talking about from Sierra Nevada, although I could bring in other companies. The whole lineup is just kind of. There's always something missing on it. It's just not quite where it needs to be. Now you say, well, you just don't like Sierra Nevada. You're prejudiced. No, that's wrong. Because if I wanted to drink a Sierra Nevada IPA, I would drink Sierra Nevada Torpedo any day of the week. Sierra Nevada Torpedo is the bee's knees. I love that beer. So yeah, don't come up to me with that business because Sierra Nevada Torpedo is great. It's awesome. It's one of America's great beers. Now that double torpedo, that extra atomic, what they call it, atomic torpedo at 9%. I don't know about that one. That one tastes like syrup. I might rather drink Aunt Jemima. Oh, I'm sorry, they don't make that anymore. Not Aunt Jemima. Oh, I mean, how could I say that? I feel so triggered. What is it? Pearl Mills, Pearl Mills. But everybody knows what it is. But like literally, it tastes like okay, Miss Buttersworth. They still make Miss Buttersworth. It's like drinking syrup, and I don't like it. I didn't like the 8%, and I really don't like the 9%, and I don't like that super duper hot bullet. I don't think these companies are tricking me. They're not tricking me. They're coming out with all these 9%, 9.9, 10% Imperial IPAs, but all they really are is high gravity malt liquors. He said, but they're ales. They're ales. Those are lagers. These are ales. I know, but they still taste chalky and they're still gross, and I still hate them. And they taste like syrup. So sorry I offended you, but that's what they taste like. Louisiana beer reviews, good. Now we're working, Tommy. Pabst Extra disappeared in my area. I think Pabst Extra is basically gone, but who knows? I might run across it again. John Anile says the Voodoo Ranger lineup is about the same for me. Yeah, it's the same type of thing. Yes, what I'm ranting about. I used to like them a lot more, but they're nothing special. Yeah, it's kind of like not that great. You say it's the buyouts. The buyouts. They got bought out. Uh, that's probably part of it, but there's probably more to it. It's not like they got bought out and so the parent company decided to destroy them. No, I don't believe that's what happened. I think it's probably like they were dying and they sold out, so they didn't die. So the parent company was like, well, what can we put out on the market that people will buy because they ain't buying Fat Tire, so let's do a revamped Fat Tire. But I don't think they're buying that either. But let's try something. You know, it's like they buy these things on a bargain. They get a bargain, and then they try to keep perpetuating it. But it might eventually die. You know, they just cannot keep it going. It doesn't thrive. That's the thing. It's a failure to thrive. And that's the case with Ballast Point, Great Lakes Brewing. I don't know about Founders now. That I might be going too far with that. Bell's, is Bell's thriving? Voodoo Ranger. It's kind of like 40 years ago with Schlitz. It's like Schlitz was thriving, and then they were dying. And so I think they got bought out, and Stroh's took them over, and Stroh's was like, what can we do with this? I mean, we have all these breweries, and the thing is not, it's obviously not thriving. We put out a regular beer called Schlitz. We put out a budget beer called Old Milwaukee. We put out a budget light. We got Schlitz Light and the budget Old Milwaukee Light. We got a all malt specialty beer, you know, to compete with Michelob called what was that one called? On Decker. Oh, not On Decker. It was called Erlanger. All malt, Clay G's hops. It's like specialty beer. We spent all this money buying these European hops and malts, and nobody buys it. We've got Schlitz malt liquor. And it's like we bought this and it does not sell. It will not sell. So then you say, well, we'll add the XL, the Red Bull malt liquor, 1984. Nothing happens. Oh, in the 90s, 84, and then 1984, and then 1994. Let's add the Schlitz malt liquor, Schlitz malt liquor ice, really strong, 8%, like ice brewed malt liquor. Nobody buys it. And then the high grade, and it, you know, you just stuck with this, and like, what are you going to do with it? You know, so it's been going on 40 years. Stroh's went out of business behind that, and got bought out by Pabst. And now Pabst is trying to put this on the shelves. And they do that with Pabst. Well, let's come out with Extra. Let's come out with Light. Let's come out with Pabst Old Tinkerdale. Let's come out with let's come out with the coffee, Pabst coffee, cold brew coffee. Well, you don't see that anymore. That's gone. So it just doesn't make it. But once again, that's not my problem. And the Little Thing, I don't know if Little Thing is popular. I don't know if it's profitable. I sure see it everywhere. But it could be that kind of thing where you just keep putting new ones out every 3 or 4 months. See if it'll catch fire, and it doesn't really. All right, last comments. And the Force. All right, Juice Force, Fruit Force. Right, great comment. Johnny Newley says the Voodoo Ranger lineup is about the same for me. I used to like them a lot more, but they're nothing special. And the Force lineup, Juice Force, Fruit Force, are not that great, in my opinion. They're not that great. They seem rushed. They are, or they appear to be. And we have weird artificial fruit notes. Well, they say natural flavors. It could be natural, natural because you got it from a natural source, but not natural to the beer. See, that's the problem. It's natural because it might be from like some acacia bark, but it's not natural to the beer. So it's a natural flavoring, but it's really artificial to the beer. You see, that's how they get around that. Even though no artificial flavorings are used. Right. Anyways, just adding on to your little rant, laughing out loud. I know it's not that little of a rant. I missed the Pabst Extra. It was a great beer. Also, Busch Signature Copper Lager recipes. Don't get me started. Tommy Carroll says John Busch Signature was one of my favorites, but not. Who is John Busch Signature? You mean Busch Signature Copper Lager? Must be spell check or artificial intelligence. All right. Anyway, this beer is fine. I mean, it's fine, but I would definitely not be looking for it or trying to seek it out. But I do like it. I'm not going to pretend like I don't like it. I like it. My liver and my pancreas and my intestines may not like it because they got to do all the filtering work. But is it really better than, like, say, Milwaukee's Best Light? That's debatable. And I would probably come down on the side of no, it's not better. It's probably not as good because Milwaukee's Best Light, you say, oh my, man, it's really going mad. It's going crazy. No, I don't think I've gone crazy because let's think about this. Milwaukee's Best Light. It's you say it's refined. It's like refined sugar. It is refined, but it's highly filtered. They get all the gunk out of it. They put it in a bright tank for weeks. They put it in an aging tank for weeks before that. It's clear, crystal clear, and it has a lot of good qualities. And it's just more enjoyable than this beer. And of course, the Milwaukee's Best Ice would be even more enjoyable because it's stronger, 5.9, and all of that. But I don't know. Craft beer is kind of like a train that went off the rails. And then they ain't never getting back on. Say what you want. You can be defensive. You can be as defensive or uptight as you want. I don't have to be uptight because I'm not part of the culture. I just review the products. It's not a movement to me. It's just products I drink. So when people start getting defensive and like strange about it, I'm like, okay. Is this a religion or is it a product? You start to wonder, like, why are you getting so angry about a product? I mean, if we were talking about macaroni and cheese, you'd be angry because I was talking about Annie's. You talking about Kraft and I was talking about Annie's, and you getting all defensive and angry. I would think, well, it is just macaroni and cheese, right? It comes in a box. So Oh yeah, push signature. That really was wonderful. It really was wonderful, and it would blow up all these things I'm talking about. But I do like this. I do like it. I do like it, and I still will give it a 92. 92. Excellent, not most excellent, but it's excellent. I like it. I would maybe recommend it, and I would maybe buy it again. Although I doubt that will happen, but I might do it. All right. Well, enough of this ranting and raving for 36 minutes. And but I think it was justified, and I don't retract anything I say. And I'll go back onto the main channel. If you want to bring this talk over to the main channel, I don't take offense to that. So all right, y'all take care now, and let's go over to the main channel and see what's up over there. All right, bye bye.